Buddy. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to today's live stream. It is February 20th, and that is exciting. It's crazy how much time has gone on in this year already, and I'm excited to be back today. Man, the past 2 weeks, I missed last week because I had this terrible, terrible, terrible stomach bug. I'm not going to go into all the details because TMI, but my family went through the ringer. So happy to be back today and look at some of your amazing photos. And so, yeah, today, welcome. If you are here live, excited to see so many people here. Let me know in the comments if you are here. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Stafford, Abhishek, Todd, Bob, Jose, Van. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Stafford, you're saying my video quality is breaking up. Let me know if anyone else is also, if it's breaking up for you guys too. Let me know. And while I just get going, let me know what you're drinking. Today I'm not drinking coffee. My stomach is still like a little. I had 1 cup of coffee, but that was enough. It's not really good for you. I'm drinking some kombucha, which I'm actually a fan of, and it's trying to reset my gut. So, very ciao. Welcome, Nancy. Todd says nothing on my end. Hopefully, everything's coming in loud and clear. Man, so a lot to get through today. 2 really big challenges. We've got our landscape photography and then our urban details. Yes, get my probiotics. Absolutely. So let me know in the comments if anything is new with any of you. Let me know if you've taken any fun photos. Like, I don't know. I just want to know if you had any wins in the past couple weeks. And let me get. I made a little presentation. So today, similar to the last live stream, we have so many photos, and I have more time today. I just don't know how long my physical health will let me be on and doing the live stream. So I want to go through my top photos first. So what I've done is I've set up a little slideshow with the top photos from each challenge, and then with whatever time left, I want to pop into the Plus platform, and I will go through the photos and try to just go through as many as possible. So anyways, a quick update. So I've been teasing this idea of the photography challenge game that Will and I are developing. And some exciting news is that we have edited the very first episode with Will and I running around taking photos. The name of it is Photo Dash. It's going to be a completely new YouTube channel, all separate. But the plan right now is to launch it at the beginning of March. March 11th is a Tuesday. And initially, I was thinking I was going to launch. I recorded some episodes myself running around doing photos, which was super fun, and I still might at some point. But after running around with Will, editing it together, it's actually really good, guys. It's like I'm excited about it. I haven't been as excited about this for a long. I haven't been as excited about something in a long time in terms of educational photography content, and this kind of just makes it fun, and it makes it fun for us to go run around. We are running around later next week a couple more times, and we'll have a first season of 3 episodes that we launch in March. And the plan is that you are going to be involved by voting for the best photos in each episode. We have 3 challenges. We each have to take a photo that is prompted by the cards that we draw. And then at the end of the episode, for once we launch it, you get to vote on your favorite photos. And throughout the season, we'll be tallying up all the votes. More details later, but basically, you're going to want to be there when the episodes launch, because there will be I'm thinking 48-hour window where we will count the votes from our followers. And then at the end, we will crown Will or I the winner. And this is just like a great pilot season. After doing it, Will and I had so much fun, and we're going to be hopefully expanding it. And we would love to get some fellow photography friends out there with us in future seasons potentially. So excited about that. That'll come out in March. So stay tuned. All right. So I'm gonna get those probiotics. Suzanne from in Spain today. Many vacation photos. That's a highlight. Awesome. Very went to London. I've been seeing some of your street photography. Amazing stuff. Ryan, wife's garden. Yes, my wife's garden is also starting to bloom, and lots of exciting stuff happening there. I'll be getting some good nature photos soon. All right, so let's get into my favorite landscape photos. Now, again, as always, take everything with a grain of salt. These are my personal favorite landscape photos. If someone else was looking through the landscape photos, they'd probably pick a set of different favorite photos. I just want to talk about why these ones are the ones that stood out to me. So the first one is this photo by Abby Byler, and I just love the colors, the softness of this photo. I also love sort of the balance going from top to bottom of these different sort of segments of the photo. We have like the sky, the landscape, and then the sand in the bottom. These leading lines kind of going into the distance, and just the colors, very soft, very nicely edited, not oversaturated. You see the birds flying in the distance, and yeah, it just looks really, really nice. Maybe I would straighten it out just a little bit, so this line of the horizon of the sand and where it meets the sort of the forest in the background is more level, but honestly pretty good. It doesn't really bug me that much in this photo. Just really nice, pleasant, soft photo. And portrait version of a landscape photo, which is a nice example of when you can use a portrait aspect for a landscape photo. As I go through these photos, make sure you're leaving comments here if you want, but also, as many of you have been doing, and I appreciate it, post some comments to your favorite photos on the Plus page. Tali Kreinler posted this photo of these people mountaineering in these epic mountains. And something you'll notice about my favorite landscape photos are it's often a nice landscape and a nicely lit, exposed landscape with great colors, leading lines, composition's good. But there's also an inclusion of some sort of subject there as well. And so this one, I love sort of it's not really negative space, but the mountaineering team is so far in the bottom left corner of this that it almost feels like a negative space photo. I wouldn't call this negative space up in the right. It's a lot of information. So it's more like positive space. There's things going on there, but it's still got that kind of vibe going on. And it's just a really interesting perspective. You can tell how big these mountains are, but you're also looking down at these mountains and you can see how high up. Now, could it be a little bit wider? Maybe it would be nice, like more epic to see like the peaks of the mountains up here. Like that might be kind of a cool photo, but it's also kind of more interesting to see it cropped in or zoomed in, or how, the focal length, the composition that it is kind of tight in here, and just you're truly above the clouds here. So really cool photo. Joel Dencio, this is a great, just perfect sort of vista view of this nice field. I don't have all the details of where this was. This one might have been in the Philippines. It looks or reminds me of the Philippines a little bit. I love the sun. I love the edit too. It's very it's nicely saturated. You could probably get a little bit more contrast, which would bring out some detail in some of these hills in the background. But something that Joel did not do, which I think would have been a mistake, something that we've seen in the past challenges that some people kind of err on the side of doing, is crank up that gosh, I'm having a brain fart right now. What's the when you do the sky? Oh my gosh, my brain. Help me out, guys. Help me out. Not contrast, not clarity. Um, we're gonna get there, folks. But that setting, dehaze. Thank you. My brain got there. Dehaze. All right. So dehaze. Yes, Jose. Thank you. Uh, people crank that up to get a lot of details in the sky, but then it starts to get super contrasty and uh, grainy and weird in the sky. And you did not do that here, which I think was a good decision. So I like that. And also, just like you have a little bit of this foreground framing the whole photo. You got these rocks and trees in the foreground, which is not a bad thing. I like it. So Joel, great photo. Jose's here right now. This is one of my favorite photos, telling a story of a landscape, and the focus is on the child here going down these epic steps. Jose, you're here, so remind us where this is. This reminds me, this is not here because it's a different. I can tell it's different, but in the Philippines, there's a place called Tagaytay where it has a similar lake with a volcano in it, and then it has like this famous like 500 steps or something. Very similar thing overlooking that lake. But I just love that Jose took this photo of this landscape, and you could totally take this photo differently without the person in there, just of the details of these lakes in the background, but the lighting on the stairs, on the child, it's just perfect at this moment. And I think it just is a beautiful photo of this landscape and the story of what's happening in this moment. So this was in Northeast Georgia. Very cool. So Jose, Bell Mountain, very, very cool photo. Love it. And the colors, very cool colors. Let us know what camera you were using, but sort of like a desaturated, lots of browns in there. Very cool color palette that you're using. And again, someone else might take this, try to make the sky super blue, make those water super blue and stuff, but it's a nice natural looking photo. And I love how it just kind of falls into the distance with the softness of these mountains in the background. Very nice. Chongka, man, this is another really cool photo. Just like the gradient of these mountaintops and these hills going into the distance. It just like looks like a watercolor painting. Just really, really cool. And again, I forget where this was from. It probably says in the details of the post, but it almost looks fake how it is. And I like the crop. I like just the progression of dark to lighter blues going into the distance. And then you got the beautiful sky as well. Very cool. All right, Radomir. This is a little bit of a different landscape. Obviously, it's affected by humans. And so we have these fields that are separated by these stone walls, which are just so really cool. This would be a really cool photo if it was taken more like an aerial photo. Like if you were either on a ladder that was 20 feet tall, or if you had a drone and you can get up a little bit higher, I think that would be a really cool photo. It doesn't mean this isn't a cool photo either. I think I love the photo. I think if there was something different that I would say about it is that, like, I really love this background, this patchwork of the fields. And I like seeing the stone wall up here, but the stone wall and this grassy part of it, it almost feels like it's blocking what's in the background to me. And so I don't know if there was any way to either get up higher or to move to the right a little bit more and frame it so that you could see this house a little bit clearer, and it could still be like in the bottom right corner or something. But that's the only thing that I would say is, like, I think for me, the main subject of this photo is this sort of patchwork of fields in the background, whereas right now it feels like it's kind of being blocked by this. But not sure if that was possible. It's still a very cool photo. And here I could tell that you brought up probably the detail or contrast and clarity, and it works really well here because I love seeing the details of the grass and the stone and all that. Bob is here, and I had to show this one because it's just a great example of the use of a panorama. This type of photo, just, it wouldn't do it justice if it was a tighter crop or a portrait crop. This is a perfect example of when you want to go extremely wide. And it's also an example of how, I'm not sure, Bob, you could let us know if you combine several photos, merge them, or if this was one large photo that you cropped narrow. I'm guessing that you combine multiple photos just from the detail that you see here. But you could be standing at the same vista with a wider lens, and you could have more sky headroom in the sky. You could have more foreground in the bottom, but the crop just works so much better now because it forces us to focus our attention on this vista, on all these plateaus. Bob says it's 4 photos stitched together. And yeah, just really nice photo. Love the colors, love the southwest of the United States. I'm guessing that's where this is from. Let us know exactly where this was shot because this is just a great example of a landscape. And I think that is my last landscape photo that I wanted to highlight. So thank you, everyone who posted landscape photos. There were so many more good ones, and I will have some time at the end of this to pop into the Plus community to look at some of those other ones as well. Panhandle of Texas. That's where that was from. All right, let's see. I want to, you know what I tried to do before? Is there a poll? No, there's not a polling option here. Oh, no, there is a poll. Can I do a poll? No. If anyone has a good question for everyone, a question that you are interested in what the fellow photographers here, we got 23 people here live. That's great. I think I got that announcement out to our students on Udemy in time today to get some friends from Udemy watching here. But if anyone has a question that you're curious from me, or you want to hear what all the other people here are doing and what equipment they have or something, let me know. I'd love to pop a question in there. Awesome. So Urban Details, the next challenge from last week. And man, this week is black and white. It's like the greatest hits of weekly photography challenges 3 weeks in a row. This is a great topic, and I was curious to see how people would take photos, how people would use this prompt for taking photos themselves. So let's get into some of my favorite ones. I'm hoping my microphone is not picking up my stomach because it's like making some noises. All right, Jim Costa. Jim posted this photo, and yes, Bill, I think this is also a difficult challenge for some, because what does urban details mean? I think for me, urban details meant, going out into a city near you, and I don't know, capturing some details. I don't know. Maria liked this one, so that's great. All right, so Jim posted. I am going to put you on the spot, Jim, just for everyone to know. So Jim was posting several photos to this weekly challenge. I asked him to only post one. If you have several photos that you really, really, really want to post or share, maybe post your favorite one in one comment and then post your other photos as a sub comment to that one. But I'd also prefer if you only pick your favorite photo to post as a weekly challenge submission, and then post the rest of them either in the gallery space or for photo critiques if you're looking for photo critiques. So yes. All right. But Jim, anyways, you post a lot of great photos, and this is one of my favorite ones from the Urban Details, just because it tells a story. And a photo of just this advertisement of, looks like this ice cream, and then below it has, I can see some other light ice cream and treats. Just that would not be interesting. Just the kids by themselves wouldn't be interesting. But the story of these kids, just, you could tell their mouths are drooling over this ice cream. You can tell that, they're probably just talking to each other. Which one would you get? It's just a great little moment that you captured. So very cool photo, and the colors are nice as well. I might have cropped it in just a little bit on the top right, just to fill the frame with this advertisement and the kids without like this little border that you have. But that's just my personal take on that one. Steven Winkler captured this photo, and I think the title of this was something like Bakery Before Sunrise, or Morning Bakery or something. And it was just a really cool photo of this bakery with the architecture within the bakery, which is super cool. The lighting is awesome. And then again, you get this storytelling of the person inside, hard at work, baking breads, pastries, and stuff that I really want to eat now. And yeah, just really cool. The colors are the only thing that I am not 100% about. I don't know if you edited it this way to make the it sort of greenish in contrast with the orange. I think if everything, the hue was, for everything was shifted a little bit to magenta, it would look a little bit better. I think if the light was sort of like a cleaner white light in here, which would make the outside match, would be a little bit better. And I don't know, it's a little bit like it's obviously not straight on, and not, you probably couldn't get this photo straight on with standing right in front of this bakery with the person in this window the way you got it. But a little bit, I don't know, maybe if I would have like cropped out this left side, the top a little bit, maybe, I don't know. It's just such a great, exactly like Bob says, frame within a frame shot. So perfect example of that. Just very, very cool photo. I'm kind of curious what this would look like black and white. I love the warm light coming from this part of the bakery, but it would also look really cool just with all the lines and stuff in black and white. Awesome. Elzan Lauter posted this one. I forget where this one was too, but some meat market. And if you want a photo of urban details, then this is a perfect example of it. There are so many details here. And that's what I think about when I thought myself about urban details. It's not like these like soft, negative, spacey photos with like a lot of things out of focus necessarily, but it's like seeing the details of like the raw urban shops and the meat market here. It's kind of cool. The lighting, you have like this coolness up at the top, the gradient to like this pinkish meat. It's kind of an unsettling photo, honestly. It kind of is a little gross to me, anyways. In some ways, seeing like all that meat just hanging there, but it's just the reality of this shop right here. And yeah, you got these cleaning supplies here. Hopefully they keep it pretty clean for this meat. But I think the only thing that I would do again is like try to just straighten it out. So like if you were standing a couple steps to the right and you were looking straight on this rack of meat and everything was a little bit more square, maybe that would be a little bit, to me, more pleasant to have everything square. You can see like this curb, it's kind of going up at an angle. Like if you were standing straight on, it would just be straight. Everything would be more square. Maria, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by it isn't more than one thing. Well, we'll see. Maybe I picked it. I'm curious to see, Maria, what yours was. All right. Mercedes says, yes, it brings more than one feeling or two. All right, let's see what this is. Another example of, like, for me, the urban details. It was just like this complex image of all these things going on. And as I say many times, the photos that I like are the ones that draw you in, the ones that you have to look and see around. Okay, what are all the things happening in this photo? It's almost like a Where's Waldo kind of photo, where you're like looking around and it's down this pathway, but you have all these clotheslines going across. Just a really cool photo, kind of like a puzzle. It would be a really cool puzzle. It's very yellowy and warm. I think it probably was very yellowy and warm based off of the color of the walls, but I also feel like the white balance is maybe slightly off and the plants and stuff do look a little bit too yellowish. So maybe pushing that a little bit cooler might help, but I don't know. Vera says, looks like Napoli. I'm not sure, but very beautiful place. Love it. Tali posted this one. I just thought this was like a nice photo of this building. To me, when I like first looked at it, it looked like this building, this house has like eyes at the top. Doesn't it look like it's like looking down at you? Just the colors are nice. The sky is nice in the background as well. And just like a classic little street photo that something like I would take, I think. Maybe if I widened out, panned a little bit to the left, it would have been a bit nicer to see the street going down, just to have that sort of in the frame. Maybe leaning over the edge of this railing a little bit more so we can not have this railing in there. Might have been a little bit nicer to me anyways, but I just love the pop of color that this yellow building has on it. And then just like the nice texture of the brick, and the roof is cool too. And then I think this might be the last one that I picked. This was just a really good example of getting a photo with a lot of people, but still being able to capture a singular subject. And so you have, I forget exactly where in Japan this was, Asakusa or something, but you have all these people who are walking around with their umbrellas, but you were able to capture this moment where this lady was perfectly singularly the subject, and her outfit, the kimono she's wearing, and just her position. And for the timing of it, where everyone else seems to be slightly like turned or not distracting from the subject, I think works really well. Yeah, I think the crop it's kind of like a square. Is it a square? Yeah, maybe it's a square crop. I might like it more of like a portrait up and down photo and just crop out some of this on the right hand side so that she's a little bit more centered. I feel like that's the only thing that feels a little bit unbalanced to me. She's facing the left side of the frame, but there's a lot more space on the right side of the frame. And so cropping that in so she's centered might look nice too. Maybe bringing down the highlights or the whites just a little bit to get some detail back here where it's a little bit overexposed at the top of her dress right there. Yeah, but I don't know if you added any sort of natural vignette, but that's another thing you could do or even enhance a little bit more is have some sort of vignetting where she's highlighted, but then everything else is a little bit darker, super subtle. I wouldn't make it really heavy, but that could help have her like in like a spotlight even more. And then, yeah, I think now I'm just thinking about this. This would be a cool photo to see in black and white, just to see. Even though I love the color of her dress and stuff, it might make her pop out even more if all the colors were gone, like the red umbrella, the blue jackets back here, all that was gone. And it's just like, then it's all about lighting that highlights her as the subject. Oh, here's another one. Michael Graham. So this was just another photo. Urban details. I think it wasn't what I was expecting for this photo challenge, but it just has so many details. It's a great perspective of the city skyline, a long exposure, getting the lights from the cars whizzing by on this bridge. Just so many good things about this photo, like the reflections and the water down here. I would probably bring back down the contrast or the clarity or something. I feel like, or the dehaze in the sky, if that's what was going on. I think just it's to me a little too much contrast, a little bit too like crunchy. I don't know. Crunchy, is that a descriptive word? I don't know. But yeah, make it a little bit softer. I think would help me a little bit. But yeah, like Ryan says, great landscape and urban detail shot in one. All right, so thank you everyone who posted your photos, and now we're gonna dive into the other photos, and I will get through as many as possible. But yeah, just thank you everyone for participating in our challenges. We're getting so many people submitting photos, super exciting to see. And as I said, just to remind you, we got the black and white photo challenge this week. I haven't even seen any of those yet. All right. Yes, and if you are here live and you want me to look at your photos, let me know in the comments, okay? Sorry, Maria. Devastated. All right, so let's see. Let's get into, I'm going to bring up the landscape photos first. And yes, if you are here, I will try to look at your photos first. Yes, I am so happy I am better. It was like 5 days from hell, honestly. And I'm sure you all know how it feels to be like sick and to get to a point where it's like you forget how it feels to not be sick. And then when you start to feel a little better, it's like, whoo, I see the light. Almost there though. But yeah, Will and I are going to be running around next Monday and Wednesday. So I'm like, I need to get better so I can run around for 2 hours taking photos for Photo Dash, which is, yes, coming up next week, filming that. Sorry, I'm just like loading all the photos on the landscape page so that everything's loaded so I can search for people's names and easily find their photos if you are here. So sorry, it's just taking a minute. But while I do that, just a couple other notes. So we are reworking the support, or not reworking, but we are adding to the supporters membership, the supporters. So as I've talked about before, like this, we have the option to become a supporter of Photography and Friends Plus, and I think everyone who has done that, it's awesome to see that you support us. The platform costs a couple $100 a month to run, and obviously the people buying courses helps pay for that, but also the supporters help pay for that as well. And so as we get more and more people on here and we need more spaces, we need more hosting for people to post photos, we have to kind of keep upgrading the tier that we are using on this really cool platform, Circle, that we run the Photography and Friends Plus channel on. But if anyone is interested in becoming a supporter, that's super great. It's $5 a month to support us. You can do it $60 for the year as well. But we also want that to be add a couple things to that to make it more worthwhile. So let me share the landscape page. And a couple things that we're doing is, and you can find the info at Become a Supporter, but one is we have added video lessons from our courses. So the full photography masterclass is now here on Plus, and we've actually added a lot of content from our other courses into the photography masterclass, or that's confusing, into these lessons. I should just open this up for you guys to see. So this, you're not going to see that because that's the back end. But basically, unless we want to pay even more money for this platform to have a bunch of different courses, which might be worth it in the long run. I would love to have all of our photography courses right here for all of the members to have access to. Right now, we've kind of added it all to this one space. And so it's structured very similarly to the photography masterclass. So you can see it starts with exposure, composition, focus and depth of field, etc. But then what we've added is, like, for some of the sections, like when we have landscape photography, for example, we also have this other landscape photography workshop course that I put together, and we've added it right here within the content because, at least to me, it makes sense that, like, if you want to learn landscape photography, you can learn the basics and then you can dive into the next section. And then it's the same. We've added content from our real estate photography course here. We've added our other workshops that we've done in the past, like the high-speed photography workshop. And I'm going to just continue adding to this here. So everything is in, or as much as possible, is in one place. And then even at the end of it, we've added a couple of our other, or we are adding to this. We're like adding my Advanced Your Photography course. We're going to add the Lightroom courses, the Start Your Photography Business. Anyways, all right here. So if you have those courses on Udemy, you can still access those there on Video School, but I just want to make it more simple. And the best part about it is that you get access to all of this if you are a supporter now. So ultimately, it will be most of our photography course content right here. And the other thing is with Photo Dash, which is coming out again in March, what we are going to be doing is we're going to have some behind the scenes videos of, like, the editing of the photos, the analysis, and that's going to be all accessible for, or exclusive to, supporters as well. And we'll put that on here as well. So anyways, if you want to be a supporter, you can click that Become a Supporter button and do that. All right, anyways, back to the photo challenges, starting with landscape photography. Let me see who wants me to look at their photo and share my humble opinions. All right, so Maria, you seem pretty excited for me to share. You might not have done a landscape photo, though. Let me know if you did a landscape photo. You probably want me to do your urban details. Let's see. If you have a landscape photo, let me know. Brian's here. Brian, the Delaware Water Gap. Oh, this is a nice photo. Cool photo, Brian. Lovely location. I like having that bridge in the background. It's a nice sort of focal point that the leading lines of this river gets into. I think for me, like the only thing that is like negative about this photo, which you have no control over, is that the lighting is a little bit just bland. It's this super kind of cloudy, overcast day, which makes everything sort of this grayish color. So, like, this is the type of place that I would love to see this almost exact photo when it was sunrise or sunset, or when the sky is like epic gradient of colors. And obviously that's not controllable if you were here for a day and this is the weather you get. But yeah, I think that's the only thing that would make this photo much better. um yeah, I mean it's a nice photo. But yeah, I think like wanting more color or more vibrancy somehow, which sometimes is just impossible with the lighting and the situation you have. All right, let's see. Van, do you have a photo here in landscape? Yes, you do. All right, let's open this up. Ooh, this is a cool, sort of similar to that other one we saw of the mountains, like the gradient. This looks like Joshua Tree-ish area, outside LA. It looks like it's out of focus. So that's the main thing, is that like the foreground looks out of focus. I think this is a photo where like it could look really cool if the foreground was in focus and the background was out of focus. Um, I think it's also something about just like the perspective that to me is like, it's kind of like that one where we saw like the grid of the farms with the stone yards or whatever it is. Um, I it's almost like I want to see more of these mountains in the background, to see more of these details. I can see that it has like these really cool rocky cliffs in the background that might look really cool. So like being up higher or something, or to the left, I don't know how you would do that. Like maybe it's impossible here in this location. But also this would be kind of a cool spot to get tighter up. Like this Joshua tree, I think that's probably what this is crazy. Like, look how weird shape that is. But if you were sort of like right, I mean, you would have to be way to the right of this where you're standing right here. Again, not sure if that's possible, but if you were like tighter in on that Joshua tree, and then you had, and again, maybe that's not the landscape photo prompt. I'm just thinking about cool photos right here. But you had that more in focus as your main subject, and then even it could still be like rule of thirds or negative spacey or something like that. But then you had like all these mountains in the background, again, blurred and out of focus, but this cool gradient of successive mountains, that might be kind of cool. I think the biggest thing, it's hard for me to judge this photo though, is because it's out of focus. I don't even know. It looks like the focus is on the mountains in the background, but because that blurs out the foreground elements, it looks off. Speaking of focus for landscape photos, I talk a lot about that in the landscape photography workshop, about more advanced techniques for how to focus for these like wider landscape vistas, because it's easy to think, oh, just like crank your aperture to an f16 and get everything in focus, but that's not necessarily, and then focus on the distance, but that's not necessarily what you want to do. So yeah, so cool. Van, thank you so much. I'm happy to share my humble critiques, and hopefully like it's helpful. um let's see, Bill, you asked another Southern California adventure. Can I open this bigger, get larger? This is from the Death Valley, and the Death Valley has some really cool landscapes to look at. Cool photo. What would I say here? It's kind of a cool photo where it just kind of looks like it's like on your walk, you're walking around, and there's this, it's not really like a road, but it's kind of like a path that you're walking down. I feel like, to me, again, the mountains in the distance are the subject, and having this like probably like 50% of the frame almost taken up by like this foreground sort of hill like path is almost taking away from what I think is a more interesting part of the photo, which are these cool mountains and the sky in the background. So again, maybe this is one where I'm curious to see like what's to the left of this. What's to the left of this where if you could, if you're allowed to, and you could go to the left and you have this sort of canyon running down the middle of the frame, where the hills of this sort of vista and then this one on the left are more like creating like a frame on the left and right sides of the bottoms of this photo, and then it kind of opens up right in the middle to this cool mountain in the distance. That might be kind of cool. Maybe just zoomed in, cropped in might be kind of more interesting, or even just like cropped up, just lose a little bit of this foreground and crop up, and it's still a cool photo and maybe a little bit more balanced, at least for me. So like you lose a little bit of this foreground, which to me is probably the least interesting part, this light part of the dirt. And then you have like, again, these gradients of like the brown layer, the uh, mountains in the distance, and then the sky in the background. That might be kind of cool. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that's helpful. But was it Bob or Bill? Someone asked about Sam. Yes, Sam. Sam's doing great. So Will, Sam, and I, obviously, most of you probably come from the photography masterclass that we were all a part of. And Will and I still live in Los Angeles area. Sam has bounced around, but he's back up in the Bay Area where he grew up. He got married and got a house. They have like a lot of vegetables and fruit trees and all kinds of stuff. And he's doing a lot of documentary work up there. So he's just been a little bit busy with that kind of stuff. Will and I want to go up there. Our thought is that we would go up there and do the second season of Photo Dash up in the San Francisco area. So we're kind of like starting out with like 2 semi-easy seasons of that we're hoping to do. And the goal is to maybe do 3 or 4 of them a year. But yeah. All right. Let's see. Anyone else have a landscape photo that you want me to critique? I might just pop over to the urban details right now, and then if anyone has a landscape, we'll bounce back there. 246 comments on the landscape. It seems like that was probably a pretty popular challenge. I'm not surprised. I think black and white will also be pretty popular. All right, so let me open up all these. So I'm going to get to, oh, Suzanne, you're there. So I'll bounce back to landscape really quick. Suzanne, Maria for urban details as well. Now, I would love if this had sort of like an infinite scroll type of thing where I could just like scroll down and it would automatically load. Or if, you know what, I should like see, I don't think this is an option, but if it just like close down the sub comments so that all I see when I open up this post is like the main post or the initial like top level comments with the photos. Anyways. I can't get everything that I want, guys. All right, very cool. All right, I'm gonna bounce back here. Just Suzanne right here. Oh, Suzanne. So this is one I don't even know if I saw. So again, for people who are posting photos, try to put your photo first and then write your comment so that I can see it without it being covered by the see more fold. Because this is a very cool photo, and I love that, you know, you get the person here in the photo, because that tells the story of this photo. I think without the person and without the footsteps leading to this person, I think it just would be kind of a boring photo of like this big snowy area, something in the distance. But really cool photo, and you did the work of getting out there. It looks like at sunrise for this photo. I don't know if it's sunrise or sunset. Um, Jose said something. If you do it on the app, it won't let you do it. Maybe are you talking about the posting the photo first? Maybe it's just like one line of text and then the photo, so then I can see it. Not sure if that's what you're talking about. But very cool photo. I could boost the saturation of the sky here, and just get more of that. The colors in the sky might be kind of cool. This would be kind of a cool photo. Like, so see how your subject's head is being cut off by the landscape? If there was any way, probably taking this photo like 5 or 6 steps sooner and up higher so that your subject was all framed by the white snow might be kind of cool. Also, even if they were closer, but you were crouched down and your camera was closer to the ground, and you know, you really saw the footsteps leading away from you, would be kind of cool. Closer up. That's a tip that Will always has. So I'm bringing in the juju of Will here for this tip. But a lot of people take photos just standing up at that height, and that's natural to do, but like really think creatively about how can you get low to the ground, can you get up higher. Some sort of creative different perspective sometimes is really nice. So yeah, really nice photo though. Yeah, it looks pretty straight. I don't know, it's hard with these photos to decide what's the horizon line. Like, you obviously have the hills up here, but then you also have the white snow, this line here, and this white snow line is a little bit off, so straightening leveling to that might actually look good for this photo. All right, let's get over to urban details. I'm going to look at Maria first. And Maria was worried that I wasn't going to like her photo because it was just of a single thing and not of a ton of different things, which I think this is a great example of getting that photo of a single thing. And it's still in this urban environment. It's still a great example of urban details. Actually, I really like this photo. I like the focus of it, super shallow depth of field. What camera did you shoot this on? Fuji X-T30 f2.2 with the 35 millimeter lens. Cool. Yeah, I like that lens. I've been using that one a lot. Really cool photo. I think like there's just only minor things where, like, for this one, because this is like the subject, I kind of want everything else to be like not distracting. And the only thing to me that's distracting is this car down here, because it's the most in focus thing in this photo, outside of this light pole. So, you know, taking this a second later, or like waiting for the cars to move where nothing was in focus, or where there was no car right here, might be kind of better. Maybe like crouching down to the left just a little bit so that this whole top part of this light post was more, the background was just the sky, and then you could have like this building out of focus but still like more like the lines of these buildings would be framing the subject in the top corner, which the subject is this light post. So like crouching down to the left. Not sure if you could understand that, but yeah, but I also like, I like seeing these people crossing the background. So another option would be like almost like tilting down, or maybe moving a little bit, tilting down a little bit. Again, trying to get it when there's not a car here, but where you could really see people crossing in the background, but out of focus would be cool. Great choice of editing in black and white. I think that was a great decision. Maria, your fingers were frozen. You couldn't have stayed out there for a little bit longer and tried to get those. Come on. I'm just teasing. Cool photo, though. Thank you for sharing that. All right. I know Very was on here, wanted me to. Let's try this. Oh, Very. Come on. You gotta post your photo. Don't you know that? I know you know that. But Very posted her photo. Which one was it? It was, oh, maybe you just click on the photo for, oh, I think you just forgot to post it. Which one was it, Very? It was this the one? I think, well, regardless, this was a great photo that you posted recently on your Instagram. Crazy reflections. The red cabin. Let's see. Red cabin? Red cabin? Oh yeah, here it is. Oh yeah, this was super cool. Your double exposures are like super crazy, and or multiple exposures. Like I have not dived into doing that with my camera, but it's so cool how you do that. It looks so magical. And yeah, this looks like something out of, I've never watched Doctor Who, but I imagine this looks like something out of Doctor Who. I don't know. But just a really cool photo. And the colors are like this gritty, grimy, urban, vibey kind of color scheme going on. It's not like that bright red London telephone booth that you typically think of. You see the person walking in the distance. I love the centering of the subject. The lighting with like this headlights shining through the background is cool. Yeah, just really, really cool photo. Very. And I'm sorry I didn't like it before, but like it now. Cool. All right, let's see. Who else? Cora. Let's see. Cora, who has never gotten a critique? Let me know in the comments. I really like this photo, actually, Cora. I was almost gonna add this to my slideshow because it's a really cool architecture photo of this building, and it just is like these cool geometric shapes. The colors are very wild. Yeah, no, it's just a really cool photo. I think there's something you could have probably done with how you were standing and how you framed this corner that maybe would have made it a little bit more interesting, where maybe you were standing or you were kind of like looking directly at this corner, and so it was more balanced and symmetrical in the center of the frame. Or like what I want, which might be impossible, is like if you were I'm not as interested in seeing this lower part of this building. I really like, this top part and then the sky. It could have been a cool photo that was even more negative, had more negative space, where it was just like almost cropped at the bottom or tilted up, and you lose, this bottom 20% of the photo and you get even more sky. That could be interesting. In terms of this photo itself, what I would do is I would drop the highlights or the whites just a little bit because it's a little bit overexposed on this facade. And then I would level it so that this part, this line, this corner of the building is perfectly up and down. And I think those two things would actually make this one photo a lot better as it is. And yeah, no, it's a really cool photo. I do not like how, you know, this building obviously has these this light. I don't know what this little panel is. It's just unfortunate that, you know, those little details kind of distract people from the art that is this building, but you can't do anything about that unless you want to. Like, you could take that into Photoshop or even in Lightroom or something. You could remove those objects, but that's getting a little bit more detailed. But yeah, it's just a cool kind of all these geometric shapes and the different colors. And even though the colors are on this wall are the same on the right and left, you obviously get a difference because of the lighting. Cool. Very cool photo. All right. It's 10 o'clock, top of the hour. I'm surprised I've made it so far. Excited to be here back. Let me try to get through a couple more. Stafford, you just posted in the landscape. Anyone else in the urban details? Let me know if you want me to go over your photo right now. I probably have to reload this if you just posted it. Let's see. And Van, yours is at the bottom. I can get to yours as well. So black and white. What would I do if I had if I wanted to do the black and white photo challenge this week? I'd probably go out and do some urban details stuff and then just edit it black and white. I actually got a photo of my daughter at breakfast time I thought was cool because the shadows were black and white. It's going to be hard for you to see this. Yeah, no, you can't see that. No, you're not going to see that, but the light was coming in really cool on the window. All right, yeah, there's got to be a better way than doing this. Circle's the platform I use to do this. See, this is what I have to do every time. I gotta open all the comments. It's annoying for you guys have to wait for me. Oh, Stafford, did you post? Stafford, I thought you said you posted. Well, I don't see it, so all right, might not get to that one. All right, so we got Bill, we got Van. Oh, Van, yeah, I saw this one. This is cool. Mural Festival in Central California. I love the idea of this photo. And the lighting's not terrible to get what you're going for, I think. I think the only thing that I would like to see different is like being able to see this artist's hand and the spray can more. It's like being blocked, but like this is really a portrait of this guy who's doing the art, and being able to see that it's kind of this cool frame within a frame vibe going on with like this like I don't know what if this is like scaffolding or something, or they're just up here. But it's kind of cool. It'd be interesting to see you up higher too. So you're more like straight on and you could see his face. That probably was really hard or impossible to do because he's probably up high on the wall. It's very noisy. You're probably using a super high ISO for this one. Okay, yeah. So you're saying the scaffolding was swinging back and forth. So ISO 3200. Yeah, it's very hard. I would probably see if you could like do a little bit of noise reduction more because you're getting a ton of that. it's to a point where it's starting to be a little distracting because it makes everything look slightly out of focus. But I love the idea of this photo with like the artist with the background, colorful mural. It just seems like a difficult place to be taking a photo, but in terms of urban details, it's pretty cool. And I like the color, but sometimes when you have a lot of noise and grain, or it's in like this dark lighting situation, something that can save the photo and make it better is just converting it to black and white and really bumping up that contrast, because I do kind of want to see more of his face, and that's hard to do with like the colors here. And so converting to black and white and just like making it super contrasty, so it's more about like the shapes of the background paint, the art, might be kind of cool too. But difficult location to be shooting at. All right, Bill, let's see. Bill says this was a difficult challenge. Old Town Sacramento, cool. Neat photo, neat location. Yeah, no, it's kind of cool. I think I would have. I think my main critique is like this fence, and wow, yeah, there's so many lines. I don't know. I'm like, this fence, it's kind of like feels crooked, so like straightening out on this might have been cool. I don't know. It might have been cool if this was like wider out and you could see more of this Ferris wheel. This sign on here was a little bit, it would have been smaller, but yeah, I'm curious to see like what a photo would have been like if you were backed out straighter on, like you would be standing 5-10 feet to the right. Still the subject is like kind of like this sign and then kind of this Ferris wheel, but then everything is a little bit more straightened out with the Ferris wheel and this container with the sign, or cropped in, like cropped into the sign, crop out the Ferris wheel, and it's more just like about this cool sign with sort of the background of these trees and stuff like that. Um, yeah, I haven't been. Van says Old Sac is a great location for some photo opportunities. I haven't been to Sacramento since I was like a little kid, but I would love to go up there, take some photos. I think the problem with this location or this photo, like just this right here, is just like you obviously have like this machinery that's part, the motor or whatever this is of the Ferris wheel. That's just like not interesting. And then this fence right here is also not very interesting. So I guess the thought is like, how can you frame this location with those being less of a prominent part of the foreground or less prominent visually in the photo? And this is all me just Monday quarterbacking with, from my armchair saying, this is what you should have done. So again, take all this with a grain of salt. I don't know if I would take a better photo here on location. You're going to see us. We haven't been posting these photos. I haven't been posting like vlog photos or my own weekly challenge photos in a while. And again, you guys probably think I'm crazy just talking about this photo dash thing so much, but I'm really excited about it because for the first time it is me out there running around taking photos. And so you're going to get to critique me and Will and see that when we're out there taking photos, the photos that we get aren't necessarily amazing. We're also we have a time limit, so we have these parameters that restrict how we are taking photos. And also I think it helps, like it just makes it more realistic for like, okay, what kinds of photos can you get there? I like having the time limit though, because not everyone has like a full day to go out and take photos. Sometimes you only have an hour or a half hour to go out and take photos. So really excited about that. I've got the first episode all edited, ready to go. But yeah, we're gonna wait till we have the full season recorded, ready to go, so we can get it all out there in successive weeks. All right, last one, Suzanne, you posted from here. Urban Detail in Berlin. I like the message is cool, seeing like this graffiti. Yeah, very cool. I mean, this is just a nice urban detail photo, and yeah, I don't really have any kind of critiques. I would play around and see what it looks like in black and white, but I would maybe boost the exposure just a little bit. The top part of this feels a little bit dark, but honestly, not bad. I think this is one of those photos where it's a photo of someone else's art, which is not bad. You can take amazing photos that way. It's what I see a lot of people do, and I did a lot of, when you're walking around, especially as a tourist, you're seeing statues, you're seeing graffiti art, you're seeing this stuff, and it's natural. It's a natural inclination to take a photo of the statue, to take a photo of the graffiti art. And again, there's nothing bad about that. I just think to have a more creative story or a creative photo is, how can we compose this artwork that someone else has created in my frame that tells a different story. So like this photo would be super interesting if I can see there's this bench here, like if you were wider out and there was someone interesting sitting on this bench. Or I'm just thinking of like a statue or something else. If you're taking a photo of a statue, that's fine, but what else can you do to make that photo interesting? Because sometimes the subject alone of someone else's art, at least to me, is not as interesting as like you framing something. Maybe it's just the lighting, maybe it's the colors in the sky, maybe there is a person or another character or storytelling element within that frame that makes it super interesting. Maybe it's just the way you compose it that's super interesting. So this, I don't mean to critique your photo, because I think it's a really cool photo, and it would kind of go well with like a series of photos from Berlin. I'm just trying to push people in general, when they're out taking photos, to think more creatively about how to take photos of what you see out in the world. Because yeah, I just think that I fall into that trap a lot myself, of just like taking photos of some artwork. It's the same idea that, like, for Bill's photo here, like this sign is interesting, but a photo of the sign is not that interesting if it was like only of the sign. So the sign being in a storytelling element of this photo of like this waterfront area, where you could see more of the Ferris wheel, you could see more of the background, might be more interesting. Obviously, like I'm just like making these things up, but like if there were like kids sitting on top of this container, that would be a more interesting story, right? But that's not here, obviously, so that's not going to be something you could always capture. Isa, that's kind of a cool photo of this person taking a photo. I'm trying to see an example of what I'm talking about. Yeah, okay. So Jim, this is like a perfect example that I already shared, but Jim's photo of this sign, this advertisement, like the photo of the advertisement isn't interesting, but the storytelling element of the kids drooling over what's being sold, the ice cream and the sweets, is what's interesting. So anyways, take all that with a grain of salt. I'm going to end my stream now. But yes, like Jose said, it's so fun to see everyone's interpretation of the different challenges. And if there's any other ways that you think like we could do better at highlighting our favorite photos. Like I just haven't had the time or energy to like create social media posts highlighting the photos. I've also backed away personally from sharing photos on social media and participating in social media just for like personal mental health reasons. And not wanting to be on the platforms, even though it's like, as a photographer, we want to get our work out in the world. Um, but I would love to like be able to showcase your photos somehow more than just being on the weekly challenge page and then like kind of forgetting about them. Um, One big idea I had, which I think would be really cool, is it. I talked to Will and Sam about this. Would be doing like a live uh, gallery show, and obviously people wouldn't be able to come in from all around the world, but I would be able to showcase your photos to the people around me, and finding a gallery space and seeing if I could do some sort of student showcase where we get, and maybe it's not necessarily with the weekly challenges, but every year we typically do the annual photo contest. If we pick our favorite photos from there and are able to showcase them in a gallery setting. And if you were able to come to Los Angeles and do a vacation, we could have that, and people would be able to see those in person. I think that'd be very cool. It would be a great way for us to highlight you. Um, I have all these different ideas. One of the other ideas that I have for a course that I'm brainstorming is that the power of our photography, there's a lot of power in photography, and you know this as a photographer, you know this as someone who sees photography, from the most important images that people have taken of like war torn areas and people struggling. Those are very important photos to share with the world so that we can experience or see other people's experiences. It's so powerful for us to be able to see other people's experiences around the world. But I think I'm wanting to somehow, and I'm not sure if I'm the right person to teach this, but I want to put together some sort of course or something that guides people more into how can our photography make a more of an impact in the world. And that impact doesn't need to be big and grandiose. It doesn't have to be us taking photos that are going to save someone's life. It could simply be us taking photos of our children that we're going to have those memories forever, or on a vacation or whatever. But I think there's a way for our photography to be powerful. There's a way for us to teach students how to take more impactful photos. And then the last piece of that is, how do we create more impact with that photo? And what does that mean? Is it just throwing them up on an Instagram account? That doesn't sound interesting to me anymore. Is it putting together a website that displays people's photos and stories? Maybe. Is it publishing a book of our student photographers with the photos and the stories of those photos? That's kind of interesting. So I have all these ideas. It's going to be something that we do, but the idea would be like, maybe for the annual competition or something separate, is like for each photographer to try to really capture one photo that's like the most impactful story of your life right now, whether that's good or bad. Anyways, that's my rant for now. I would love to, Todd, I would love to have Will and Sam on here. I'll talk to them about that because, yeah, they got to get here, right? Like, why am I doing this by myself? Will and Sam should definitely be here. I know Will is actually teaching some photography and video courses in person. He's like a hot shot now at college professor level. He's teaching the past year or so, he's taught at a couple local colleges. And so he has a schedule doing that, which is super cool. It's cool to see that he kind of started here with me and now he's teaching live people, live in-person people. And then, yeah, Sam. So yeah, I'll reach out to them. I would love to get them on here at least once a month or something. Also to do maybe just like a general Q&A session once a month, so that you guys can just post your questions. Here on this platform, we have the ability to let everyone sort of join more like a Zoom call than this sort of like webinar style, which I think would be super cool to just have everyone on the call. People could like raise their hand just like on a Zoom call and chat with us, and we can have more of a conversation. So that's something that I'll try to talk to Will and Sam about. Awesome. Have a beautiful week. Thank you to all of our supporters. Thank you for buying our courses. That helps us out as well. Thank you for your reviews. If you haven't done so in a while, make sure that on all the courses on Udemy, you've left reviews for the courses. That's what helps the courses, do better. And until next time, we will see you later. I should be back next week for another live stream about the Black and White Photo Challenge. So I will talk to you all soon. Bye. Much love. See ya.